Welcome to the Freelance Drive. Here we talk with skilled freelancers about their professional journey. Stay tuned for real-life experiences to learn and actionable steps to take to improve your freelancing career. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Elina Jutelyte, a founder of Endo-Exo event management and marketing consultancy for B2B and associations, and a founder of Freelance Business Community, a global independent network of freelancers. And Elina works on inspiring freelancers to get together to improve their independent careers through learning, skill sharing, networking, and even political action. So, welcome, Elina.
Hi, Yuri. Hello.
Super happy to talk to you. I'm excited. I'm waiting so much for the freelance business months. Let's rock. I bet it's for the first or fifth time already.
Fourth time. We had 3 editions before, and now it's the fourth one.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. So I'm really looking forward to it. And also, you run a freelance business community, and as I told, host the largest event for freelancers, freelance business months. So tell me, how did you enter the freelancing world?
I would say by coincidence, but in fact, it was probably a well-prepared journey because I wanted to become independent already for a long time, and I've been freelancing since 2016 by now. And I was just looking for the right step. I was preparing rounds, talking to potential clients about, working with them directly while being employed. It's the story I share because it sounds ugly, but in fact, like there is how otherwise you can prepare your grounds if you don't communicate with your potential clients about the fact that you want to do business with them. And when I hear that people started saying, "Yeah, would be great, fantastic," I eventually took action and started doing my own business. And probably unlike some other freelancers who start and then they begin looking for clients, I had a client from the start. So I didn't have this problem of, what do I do next? I just had to register my business as soon as I could. And obviously working from day one already with the client.
Yeah, it's cool.
But the problem actually appeared later when I lost the client because of internal problems within the company, and I was on the market again after a couple of years looking for clients. And this is how I realized that actually I know nothing about freelancing.
So why did you decide to focus exactly on freelancers?
Well, exactly from that problem, because I wanted to connect with people and see and learn myself how to run business and where to find customers. Actually, that was the main question I was having. My strategies of looking for them online or applying for jobs that are open for full time and trying to pitch myself as a freelancer didn't work at all. So as an event professional and event producer, eventually the first idea was, why don't I connect with people via an event that I'm going to produce? And at that time I partnered with someone and we did a local event here in Brussels, and it worked well. It was very interesting experience to get to know people, but still my question somehow wasn't answered completely. So that's why I felt that, continue on that journey, meeting more people, learning from them would eventually help me in my business.
No, it's such a great story, and I can totally relate because the first community I've ever built, it was very similar. I had questions, I didn't know what to ask, and then like, why don't we meet in person and just talk with each other and have this dialogue, have this conversation, and find out like how it works. So yeah, kudos to you for starting that, because I'm working like now with community of freelancers, and I have this feeling that people are very open if they trust you, but from the beginning, like you have to make sure they're trusting you, otherwise it will be like crickets. So it's really very interesting. But I wonder, from your experience, from your perspective, what is the main difference between a freelancer and an employee?
You know what? We actually asked this question to our community at some point, and the most trending answer was freedom. That is what differentiate employee from a freelancer. Freedom in many senses. Freedom to shape the way you work. actually the freedom to shape the way you live, and freedom to choose the work you want to do, and many other aspects. I think that's the most defining, matter for, if we compare freelancers versus employees. And I think the second thing I would say is a bigger responsibility. It probably not correct to say that employees are not responsible. Of course, there's tons of responsibilities on their shoulders. But when you are independent, you have to take hell more matters on your shoulders, from making sure your finances are stable. Nobody's going to give you salary every month. Your insurance is fixed. Your taxes are paid, and you don't get surprised a couple of years later, as it is in Belgium, for example, and many other aspects. So freedom and responsibility. I guess you pay. You gain more freedom by being more responsible for your own life and work.
I love this joke when like I have a freedom to work, I can work 5 hours, 10 hours, I can work all day. So like
exactly. Sometimes it's the case actually.
Yes, and from your experience, you have conversations with hundreds, thousands of freelancers. Can anyone be a freelancer, or are there any blocks for some people?
Great question. I think we have to look at it also from different perspectives. Purely from demographical point of view, freelancing gives way more opportunities for some vulnerable groups to have a job when otherwise they would not be able to work, right? And maybe some remote locations, or handicapped, or people with disabilities. So freelancing is for everyone. That's what they say. On the other hand, I know tons and tons of people who tried freelancing and then like, oh hell, I go back to 9 to 5. I just don't want to have this stress anymore. So these are the people who are not fitted mentally, or by the skill set that they have. It's just not for them, and that's totally fine. I actually have family members who are independent, but they are not shaped for being a freelancer. They just purely executors, you know what I mean? They belong to a company, to a team, and this is how they're mentally structured. It's easier for them to act like this. So depending how we look at this, it's yes and no.
Yeah, I totally get it. And sometimes I meet people who like just tell me what to do, and like I'll do it, and others like never tell me what to do. Just what is the goal, and I was like, oh, okay, so most likely this is a freelancer. And like you create events like conferences, masterclasses, webinars for freelancers. You have a lot of like useful materials such as blog, freelance business book, and I'm not talking even about event recordings. And you also connect people. But I have this internal feeling like, and I don't know how to fight with them. And I wonder, maybe so how do you know that you are doing the right thing?
And I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, to be honest. But what drives me is the feedback that I'm receiving. That for example, this event was helpful. I got a chance to connect with people. I got a chance to learn and listen to some great minds. I have applied this knowledge and it worked out in my situation, and I'm super thankful. When I receive such feedback, that means I'm doing something right. So it's necessary and needed for people and freelancers who are out there. What I'm trying to always keep in mind is that what sort of questions are not answered yet, and I'm trying to put the content or specific events or publication out there. For example, right now we're working on a survey asking people, I keep saying people, freelancers, where to find jobs.
Freelancers are not people. Yeah, exactly. I'm kidding.
They're like superhumans, I would say.
Yeah.
So we're asking freelancers where to find jobs, because I was sick and tired seeing reports from almost everywhere saying that freelancers finding jobs on the platforms, which is fantastic. I believe it's true. But I believe also there's specific categories of freelancers who are not on the platforms, and it's not going to be their first choice. So I wanted to be that body who would connect other communities who are not associated with platforms, and collaborate on that research and provide a report at the end that would actually say that platform is not the first place of work for freelancers. And if we look at some governmental reports or research institutes, some big names I'm not going to mention right now, they all focus on platform work. And because maybe they can get the data out of it, and that's how they can estimate the impact on the economy, but it's not the biggest driver. There are lots of freelancers who are out there working outside of platform, and this is how they survive, but they need to be featured and counted and represented as well in all the policy-making institutions. So, kind of the direction I took slightly different from your question, but just to answer maybe shortly once more, trying to see what market needs and then moving in that direction. And I hope it's going to be helpful. Just that's how I think about the work I do.
And talking about platforms, I'm totally sure that every platform will produce a report, and number one point where freelancers get jobs will be they get it from platforms. And I also feel like they are helpful, when you don't have any connections, when you have a lack of experience, and you are just starting freelancing. It's the place to go, definitely. But I talk a lot with senior freelancers, and number one question is recommendations from previous clients, and also recommendations from the network they built. So basically, the moment somebody's finishing the project, it's not they're for months out in the market. It's they're just sending messages for a few people, hey, I'm free, and then they had projects in a few weeks. So yeah, I totally get what you are talking about. And you told what motivates you, but I wonder what demotivates you.
Difficult to answer this question because I'm trying not to focus on those things.
Yeah.
But what demotivates me?
Let's change a little. What is the hardest part in what you are doing for freelancers world?
I know what demotivates me actually, and the hardest thing. Now, as a community focusing freelancers and representing the voice of this wider audience, it's very difficult to convince corporates with budgets to play along with you because in the business world, their focus is mostly on generating revenue, obviously, and they're generating revenue from the clients. Even if they charge freelancers something, it's not a significant amount. So in the marketing budgets, supporting freelancers is just not an option. And I felt very strongly recently when I saw that the same companies that I'm approaching, willing to spend thousands and thousands euros, dollars on initiatives focusing clients, events in this case, versus on an event that is focusing on freelancers. That was so demotivating. I was thinking, hell, you get your revenues from matching clients with freelancers, and then you don't even want to support freelance community that will, help those freelancers to do better work for your client. Yeah. So that was really that put me off quite a big time. And the hardest thing I think comes from that, to find sustainable rails for the community management, because there is much we can do, a lot really. I have so many ideas in my head that I can do for the community, but you can only do if you have financial support and money to support the operations. So that is the most difficult. And I hear this actually from many, many communities, because in Freelance Business Month, we like to run also community roundtable or something like this, where we get community managers to come and talk about the things that are relevant to them and the challenges that they're facing. And I hear that a lot. So it's, I guess, not only my problem.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there are, from my point, I can understand them because, clients, they're somebody who pays. That's why they're always focusing. But yeah, exactly. You are Like, it's not like you are doing it yourself. Definitely, if you are some kind of consulting company or anything else, you are getting clients for yourself and you are like covering it all by your power and by your employees and all the stuff. But when you're working with freelancer, yeah, it's weird. But I hope, I feel like we are moving in the right direction, and I hope it will change in the future. And from my perspective, I'm totally confident in the power of communities. But also, what I see in freelancing world is that freelancers usually see each other as competitors, and I'm trying to kind of like teach them, hey, like you can compete, but if you work together, you can get so much more. Like there are many clients. Let's just work together and create more clients. But once again, from your experience, how do freelancers benefit from being community members, from cooperating with each other instead of seeing each other as a competitor?
Yeah. Well, to your first comment, it's not only freelancers actually who are so competitive, communities as well, strangely enough. As I'm trying to reach out to any community I may know about, freelancing, proposing to do something, I would say 10% from it would be very restrictive, and kind of like, oh, you want to tap into our community. I'm going to steal your freelancers. Are you kidding me? Like you can.
Are you reaching out to paid communities?
Yeah.
So.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
There are
weird.
communities who are open to collaborate and they're willing to exchange and co-create, and I love this. But there are some others who are like no, stay away. But and I just forgot the question. What was that? The second part.
There's a question about like how freelancers can benefit from working together.
Well, there are lots of benefits when you start building an ecosystem around yourself. You can call it a community as well, because first you can upsell your client. I hate this word, but you can reach out to a client with new proposition of the services that you are not able to deliver yourself, but you have a partner who can do that for you. And of course, you need to be sure about that person, because you don't want to propose someone who is like not very good at what he or she does. Secondly, it's about the ideas that you can generate together. We are lonely most of the time, freelancers, and that's actually why I love community, because then I can talk to many people. And by just expressing your thoughts, you may have a feedback and validation of your ideas, and then you can roll it out. You can create something together. For example, Freelance Business Community came up as a creation of my partnership with other people. Okay, many things changed since then, but eventually, that was the birth of Freelance Business Community. And I guess there are more benefits to that. I only think the problem many freelancers have, and I was asking on Instagram the other day what they would be interested to hear from me, is delegation, meaning that understand your job so well that you can actually define the task that you can delegate to someone. And as freelancers working alone most of the time, they tend to take lots of tasks on their own shoulders, thinking that nobody else can do those. But in fact, you start growing when you sit and think through your processes. In most cases, they're quite repeatable in what you do, and think of which part of your process you can delegate to someone, so you can free up your time, for example, to do business development or education or something else, and eventually maybe rise your price tag a little bit up as you get more education, more skills, more network, and things like that.
Oh my God, I totally hear you. And for me, it's so hard to delegate things. I feel like nobody will do it better. But then at the end of the day, I understand that 10 people will do it definitely faster and most likely better than one person. So, and yes, exactly. When you know your partner good, when you connect, but how can you connect? You connect with our community. So you go there, you meet people, you talk with them, you go to have coffee or beers, whatever. And then like, okay, so let's work. And that's how it works. And I totally agree with you. And Elina, I really wish to have the sky as the limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So the final question, what is your favorite food?
You will love it. Пельмени.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Dumplings, yeah.
Yeah, it's very tasty. Yes. So thank you so much, Elina, for sharing your experience. And it's been such a pleasure to hear and learn from you.
Yeah, Yuri, thanks a lot for inviting.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button on 5 stars and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.